What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another special edition of the Building Code. I'm Charlie Burtwhistle.
And I'm Courtney Matern.
And it's special because every episode is special.
Yeah, that's true. But this one feels extra special because I finally got what I wanted, which was for Lucas to come on the podcast.
This has been I will say, oftentimes when people ask me what I do for the podcast, I say close to nothing. I just show up and ask questions. But you, on the other hand, you are constantly scheming, sourcing, looking for people to have on the podcast. And one of your schemes finally came to fruition today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so lucky in my role to get to meet so many builders through Buildertrend University, through social media. And I met Lucas at a Buildertrend University. He works at JC Builders. He's a second generation builder. And like his passion for the industry was just like radiating. Well, one, he also said that he was a fan of the podcast, so like gold star in his bucket, but learning about his family business and his passion for teaching the next generation, and also just willingness to try something new with his business, not afraid to shake things up or just try to be better every day, inspired me because that aligns so much with what we do at Buildertrend. And I was like, you have to come on the podcast. And he's like, I don't know. And a year later, here we are.
Well, I am excited. I met him as well at Buildertrend University for a split second. And he said he was a fan of the podcast. And ever since then, he's been my favorite person in the world. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get Lucas in here. Lucas, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Building Code. Really appreciate you making the time. How's it going?
Good. Happy to be here.
Super excited to have you. It sounds like this has kind of been, Courtney's been scheming to get you on the podcast for a long time coming, and it finally came to fruition. But for those people that haven't been scheming to get you on the podcast for the past year, we always like to start with just tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of who you are, where you came from, and how you got to where you're at today.
So I was down to BTU last year, and she just was scheming. We were meeting at the after hours stuff, and she's like, "Oh, first conversation out the gate was just, we got to get you on the podcast." And I've been ducking her for the last year. So, little about me: second generation builder, South Central Wisconsin. We primarily focus on residential remodeling, additions. We do a little bit of light commercial stuff. But we're kind of in a regrowth cycle here. My dad started the business in 1981. So we're going on 44 years this year, almost to the day, actually. So he started the business. I came to work full time here in 2010. So I'm going on 14, 15 years now. My intro into the construction industry actually started with, working summers with him. I know that's a story with a lot of us in the trades, but working summers with him. And then our local builders association actually does a student home build. So we do a student home build every year led by the association to train high school students to come into the trade. So we build a whole house from start to finish. So went through that program. And then any more about me? I mean, we're pretty heavy into, like I said, residential remodeling, light commercial stuff. And I do a lot with our local builder association. I'm pretty active on our board, chair a young professionals council that we just started to try and give those of us in the association a little bit of a foothold to, have a place within that market and within the association.
Yeah, that was one thing about you, Lucas, that I could tell right from the start was your passion for building, which probably obviously comes from, being a second generation builder. But talk a little bit about your passion for sharing the trade with young people.
So with that, we do with the younger generation. So we do a couple of programs. So one that we put on here actually in-house by ourselves, we call it Building Generations, and invited some younger kids, all ages, just brought them down to our shop. And the general premise was to let these younger kids, build something, with a family member or, with that next generation or the previous generation, with their parents, with their grandparents, give them that opportunity. And then that idea kind of spurred into, in my work in the association. And we ended up piloting a program there where we have elementary, middle school age students partner with a high school age student that's in a trades program locally. So with our local high schools, and have them complete a similar little project, and then have a couple of our builders trade partners. So the last one we did, we had an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC guy brought them all in and had them do a little, hey, this is what the trades look like for me. This is why it's my passion. This is why why I do what I do, or how I got my start. And I think it's just planting that seed with those younger generations, because we need that. We need that backfill, because we have a lot of this outgoing generation legacy builders, these guys that have been around forever, that they're stepping out, and it's actively making an effort to make an impact on that next generation to backfill some of those positions, and offering that hand up to these younger kids, and giving them an opportunity to see that this is an option, and that you don't have to go to a 4-year school, that you can be like me. I went right out of high school into bags on in the field, learning hands-on, and there are those of us that are willing to give you that hand up.
I love that. And I love that you have the kind of mentor program that you talked about people in elementary school. Something Courtney and I were talking about just last week actually was, everyone likes to talk about, the skilled labor shortage. No one likes to do anything about it except for people like you. And a lot of the programs and outreach and campaigns that are going on are targeted at, kind of high school, college students. A lot of times at that point, people already have their mind made up, or think they have their mind made up, and didn't know that this was a career choice all along. Whereas getting in front of people earlier on, showing this as a very cool, fun, exciting career opportunity, then they can, take that route throughout high school and kind of start working towards that a little sooner.
Well, yeah, and that was kind of our idea. Is we already had the niche filled for that high school area, right? With the student build. So we had that high school niche, but the question came up in one of our education committee meetings, was like, hey, how do we backfill this program, right? To make sure that we have students coming in, and it's like, okay, we need to have touch points with these students from elementary age to middle school age, where they start getting some of those trades programs in middle school, and be able to backfill that program, so that way we have that longevity of that student interest. So starting at that elementary age and giving that opportunity to kids that, like, hey, it's okay to work with your hands. Like, this is a viable trade. It's something that you can do not only for work, but also for fun. And it's kind of melding those two, as kind of, as we were sitting around the table with our YPC, just saying, hey, like, how do we backfill this, and what do we do to engage these students at an earlier age? And my EO was like, well, why don't we use the program that you already figured out? And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. Let's do that.
Yeah.
I wish I could travel back in time, and maybe, like, instead of taking anatomy and having to dissect a frog, that I could have learned how to tile a backsplash instead. Like, that would have been so useful to me personally, and who knows what it would have sparked creatively. But it's so cool to be able to go, back to the middle school. Like, that's when we did home ec and all of that. Like, forget ironing a shirt. I want to know how to grout something.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring that up, because I believe the podcast I was listening to on my way into work this morning, you were talking about renovating your house. I can't remember what episode it was, but that was relatively recent.
I tore out my own backsplash linoleum. Like, I get too inspired by talking to all of you. I was like, yeah, I'm going to tear out this linoleum. How hard could it be? Yeah, I've been without a backsplash for a while. You need to take a class.
I hate to put you on blast, Courtney, but it could have been any number of 100 episodes you're listening to, Lucas. I feel like you complain about that dang backsplash constantly.
I know.
We got to get that figured out.
Somebody's going to show up at my door and be like, we're going to.
Yeah, they're tired of listening to it. Let me just do it real quick.
Oh, fund me to have Courtney stop talking about her backsplash. How about that?
Yeah.
Send me a YouTube video. Somebody. I need to learn how.
Okay. Yeah. I would. This will be a good test for our TikTok and Instagram reach. See if we can get you in contact with somebody.
I'll do a video if somebody sends me instructions. But Lucas, with working with the kids, does it change your outlook on the industry? Like, have they taught you anything about how you want to, run the business going forward?
So much. Like, I was talking with the group of people that we had afterwards, and it's that you get that mundane, right? You get that routine, and we set our workflows and we do what we do. And obviously we have our touch points with our customers, and we're building those relationships and creating that family atmosphere and working on our teams and all that kind of stuff as owners, but having that availability to step outside that box. I think for a lot of us in the trades, it's that tangible reward at the end of the day. That's our driving force. Obviously we're all here to make money, but that tangible, I built that. at the end of the day is huge. But having that availability to say at the end of the day, yes, I made an impact on someone else's life, not only in their home, but also in, you have that conversation with that one student, or one student stands out in that, and they just, that like you put that seed, or you planted that seed for them, or you started that fire for them, that is that core memory in an essence. And for me, it's I look back at some of my core memories working with my dad, doing stuff with my grandpa, and having that relationship, and knowing that there's possibly a student out there or a kid out there that may not have that person in their life, and being that person for them is huge. And I think it's super rewarding to say, we're passing this on to the next generation, that we're, and I think it tips a hat in essence to what we do. A lot of what we do in the information that us builders today, and I'm in my generation, a lot of how the way we learn things, at least in my experience, is generational knowledge. It's hands, passed down. It's not, SOPs weren't a big thing when I came in. There was no procedural manual for how you do this in a lot of essences, and a lot of it is that generational knowledge. So kind of keeping that, while also making sure that we're, evolving and growing the industry, and making sure that we're making a positive impact on the industry.
Yeah, something that I've always found fascinating about the construction industry is the motivation behind it all. And people talk about, are you money driven? Are you such and such driven? I think the cool thing about the building industry is that you're kind of legacy driven, and the things you build stand for 100 years, and you can drive by them, and they're part of the community, and people raise their families in them, and so on and so forth. And you're even taking a step further from a legacy standpoint and building an entire generation of people to continue and build their own legacies, which I think is awesome. I think that's much cooler than making $1 million.
Yeah, no kidding. And speaking, you made kind of a natural segue to evolution. When we met, you were here for Buildertrend University, learning how to, better use technology in your business. Talk to us a little bit about how Buildertrend has helped your company evolve.
So we, little backstory, we onboarded in 2020. I think there was a big boom at that point in time, because all of us didn't have a whole lot going on, and we had, time to figure out, and it seemed like that was kind of a natural evolution for us. So we onboarded in 2020, and have been going strong ever since. And there was a little, I'll be honest, there was a little bit of, reluctancy, and okay, how do we make this work? It's a big step. And then coming to BTU was huge for me. That it opened so many doors. But I even through that time, having the availability to our main points, that we were looking for when we started looking for a solution for this, is, having a platform that condenses all of our repetitive entry. At that point in time, my dad and I sat down and we're like, okay, if we run a job from start to finish, how many touch points do we have with different programs? How many different programs are we using to complete this project? And then we looked at, a few of the competitors and did some trials, and we got to Buildertrend and did our trial, and we're like, no, this is the one. It takes care of, it hits all of those touch points. And then I think for us, it was the coaches and the support teams and that kind of stuff that really sold us, that it was like, okay, we know we're not in this alone. And that's a feel that's very natural for us, having that relationship, because that's how we run our business. Is we're building a relationship. You're not just a number on a page. You're not just a number. You're not just another contract. You're a person. And that's how we base our interactions with our homeowners. So that was really, it felt like a very natural fit for us.
I love that. I think, time and time again, we consistently hear the differentiator from a Buildertrend standpoint is our customer success team and our coaches and account managers. We've actually had a few get poached from builders that they work with, but it's natural, and I don't blame them, because they're working with hundreds, if not thousands, of customers every single year. If you know a problem or have a problem, that's guesses they probably helped someone solve it before, and I always love it. Tip my cap to that team, because we underappreciate them a little bit inside these walls, but they're by far the most knowledgeable people we have.
We couldn't do what we do without them. I mean, in all reality, the CS team rocks. They're phenomenal, and everything that they do. I mean, it helps us do what we do on a daily basis, because we run across a little problem, rather than spending an hour with, like I would with another program or something else, digging into it and trying to find that problem. It's a straight to pick up the phone, send a chat, like, this, help me fix this, and then it's done and over with, and we can move on.
And we're so lucky to work with customers like you who are willing to give your time and your feedback and try out new products. You recently worked with my team on a case study project where we got to interview you and deep dive into the business to talk a little bit about our purchasing, our cashback rewards program. You definitely are a builder who's not afraid to try something new, especially if it means something good for your clients. You want to talk a little bit about, kind of give people a sneak peek of that case study?
So that case study, with that, as well as, I mean, I try and work with and put myself, after BTU, and put myself in a position where I made myself available to the product teams, to my coach, and like, hey, we're in the trenches, and we're here every day working in the program just like you guys are, but it's a different aspect. And try to make myself available, and then subsequently, it ended up in the hands of your team, and so yeah, right. So with that, it was talking about, the case study was talking about rebates and the purchasing programs and that kind of stuff, and the impact that it's had on our business, the outlook that I see for for our industry as a whole, as well as us personally, and talking about some of the things that I think there's a big future for all of us in the industry, and the partnerships that we're creating here with you guys at Buildertrend, and also our local areas. And I think the purchasing program gives us the availability to buy, I guess, in essence, like a large builder. We're a small builder. CBUSA is a program that's out there, but there's not you have to hit certain benchmarks. And for us, we're relatively small. And the rebates and cashback programs gave us the availability, and are giving us the availability moving forward, to be able to utilize the purchasing power of the larger group of all the BT users, and those on the team there working to make those relationships and build those relationships with the manufacturers and suppliers. So it's given us the availability to buy like a bigger builder and get some of that money back, to be able to, hopefully, as those programs evolve, pass some of that along to our customers and our clients.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts, like what you said, is for you to be able to buy like a bigger builder. You have this wonderful story of being a second generation builder. You're active in your community. You're teaching a whole nother generation of trades to love construction. And it's really meaningful, even though I'm just on the marketing side, to be working at a company that is creating programs that allows you to run the business and build the legacy that is probably your purpose, right? Like, you're making a difference, right? In Wisconsin, you're working with clients, and hopefully we're just making your life a little bit better and ensuring that your company will have an even stronger future.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think having our partnership with Buildertrend has been one of those driving forces for us for our growth. I mean, it was just, like I said, it was just my dad and I back in 2020 when we onboarded with Buildertrend, and we've slowly been growing, and our team is ever evolving, and we have a project manager now. We have a full-time office assistant and estimating assistant. My dad's in the office pounding out estimates on a day-to-day basis, and I'm running the production end of stuff. And we got three or four full-time guys in the field, and we're looking to continue growing. So it's been really nice to have that platform to be able to have it evolve with us and be there for us to plug in. Okay, yeah, I think we're ready to start using purchase orders. Yep, we have the availability, and we need to have our daily logs, and that the schedules and to-do items and all of that. That was a big one for us early on, is having those organizational pieces there, and that has helped us so much through that growth cycle. And I can see a place for it continuing on in the future, without a doubt, as we continue to evolve and as we continue to grow our business.
I love that. And I think you are the perfect customer that we want to work with. The hand raising, from a product development lifecycle, there's a lot of things that we are constantly working on in the background at Buildertrend that a majority of our people don't know about, right? And so we have these different groups of like what we would call early adopters or like beta groups, where we give them access to net new things before the generally available population would get access to them. And it's great because it allows us to get feedback and iterate on it and make sure it's good before rolling it out. And it also is great for people like you that are like, hey, throw something my way, let me try it out, I'll give you feedback. And
absolutely love being in the early adopter program. It's so rewarding. It's like, oh my God, like I'm showing the rest of my team. I'm like, hey, did you see that new update that just came out? No, what are you talking about? Okay, never mind. You'll see you next week. It's like,
you're VIP.
Yeah, and it allows us to like build stuff together, which I think is really cool, that we know is actually going to be applicable. So the Buildertrend Purchasing thing just went live in product. We're not rolling it out from a go-to-market, like we're not actively like pushing or selling it quite yet. But for those people that want a sneak peek, when we have the case study coming out, I realized we kind of skipped over this step. I'd love if you would just give our listeners a quick overview of kind of what the rebate and cashback program looks like.
So rebate and cashback, at least the way it works and the way it looks for us, and the way I see it having a position within our business in the future is primarily the relationship, I think, with Ferguson and Build.com is a big one for us, just because of the ease of access to make that happen. Having the availability where it's, we literally, all we had to do was set it up and it runs in the background, and it, every quarter I get a notification in my cashback site, hey, you got a new, check posted from Buildertrend, and then the ease of being able to just transfer that back into that. And then I think long term, having some relationships set up with our local supply houses is kind of how I have it set up right now. Is I'll use Schlag for example. I have one of my reps at one of my local supply houses. I just have them on a monthly basis run a report. Hey, any purchases that I made with Schlag, dump that in the cost inbox, and it runs through that or upload it to the rebates. And in the page in there, you're able to just click, drop the rebate in there, and it uploads, and then it will run through and see whether it's approved or whether it's not. So the ease in which being able to use it and access it makes it make sense, because there's a lot of rebates out there in the industry right now that even we interact with currently that it almost feels unobtainable in some essences, where it's like, okay, you need to know when you did it, where you put it in.
Send us your fingerprints and a 10-page essay, and maybe we'll send you the rebate.
Right, exactly. And then you get it back and it's like 10 cents. And it's like, okay, that wasn't worth my time. And it wasn't worth my effort. Having something that just runs in the background and it just automatically populates on the stuff that we're already purchasing on a daily basis, it just makes sense. And it makes it easier for us to be able to do what we do and, access these programs that are available. They're there, they're available to us. And I think it's worth the time and effort to, simply just go in and put your banking information. A lot of us already have our banking information because we're already doing our financials within the platform, and being able to just have that run in the background is the key point for me in all reality.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know if it'd be good for me or not. I would just be refreshing that page constantly. Yeah. It'd be too hard for me to let it run in the background.
$10. Yeah. Got another $30.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. And for me in working, I did a little bit of work with that product team in the release that's coming up, or it already may have came out. I'm not sure where they're at in that, but some of the layout stuff, making it make a little bit more sense, and having, just kind of my unfiltered view of like, this is how I would expect to interact with this page. And I think from what I've seen, they have absolutely knocked that out of the park in the layout and how clear it is, being able to, show what actually understand what you're looking at, and have that be, I think the term that I shared with that team on multiple occasions was ease of access. Like, I want to be able to pull that page up once a month and see, okay, where are my rebates at? Do I need to transfer them? Okay, nope, I already got, the transfers already auto set up. So as soon as that money hits my account, or hits the rebates page, it dumps directly into my checking account, and we're moving on. And then it's a 4-minute interaction, looking at the page quick, and then I'm moving on until the next quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, Lucas, as an early adopter and a beta tester, it's probably a good thing I don't design the product. But like, what do you think? Just coming back from Vegas and the Builder show, what would you think about like jazz hands or sparkles or like big cha-chings that like come out and pop out of the screen every time you make money. Help you get some dopamine hits for like, you saved money. Good job.
Like a Vegas slot machine.
Big
winner.
Yeah, no, I think that would be great. Like you open up the page and you have a deposit, and it's like in an iMessage where like you get like the birthday balloons.
Yeah,
like, up from the screen.
Confetti, like sparkles.
I'll make sure I drop that in a comment the next time I'm talking to a product
They'll
team.
They'll know like somebody is messing.
You know what's funny is I use a product, and I won't name them on here, but I recently got like a product release email from them. They're like, now live. And it literally was confetti when so-and-so does so-and-so. I was like,
they're trying to hit your dopamine receptors, and it works.
It worked. I saw it was pretty cool. Well, while we're giving shout outs to people around the building in here, our product team is absolutely incredible. And they're incredible because they work with people like you, Lucas. We definitely couldn't build the thing that we're building by ourselves in a silo.
I heard a stat that they were doing upwards of 100 calls with customers each week, just regular chats like, hey, what do you think about this update? Are you having any trouble in there? Not doing formal marketing interviews, but just chatting about how to make the product better. So thank you, Lucas, for giving us your time.
Yeah, those meetings are great. I think they're super productive. And I think on another side within that same kind of realm and conversation is it makes me feel like on the backside, and other users who may not be in those programs, it gives you that availability to feel like we're paying for a product, but we're also being part of what it is for us. And I think it's that what is the slogan? Build better. That we're going to build better, right? Mm-hmm. So it gives us all the availability to be part of that and feel like, and it gives us, at least me, the big draw for being part of those programs is and offering that feedback is the availability to know that, like, hey, I remember we had a specific conversation about that like 3 weeks ago, and then here it is in reality. So it's that tangible, I guess, reward in an essence of, showing like, hey, I put this work in, and that now I'm seeing it on a screen and something that I'm interacting with on a day-to-day basis, and have the availability to have my input be thrown in the hat, I guess, in an essence, to make sure that the program is doing what we need it to do to be able to be the best we can be on our side.
Yeah, and I think if people are out there listening that thinks that this sounds appealing, easiest way to get in contact is just go through your customer success rep or your coach. They can get you in contact with who you need to be in contact with. And we mean it when we say it. Yeah. I actually I got tagged on an email this week of a customer that met our CTO at the Builder Show and was asking him a question directly. And he tossed it my way. He's like, Charlie, can you help him out with this? And I'm like, that is just so cool that our customers are messaging directly with our CTO.
Yeah, we're building a product together because we might as well get your input because we're building it for you and we want it to work and we want it to make you successful. And it's just this great collaboration that on both sides we're willing to give each other time and teach each other things and learn and have a conversation and be open-minded too about what's working and what's not. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was just to say now, just to knock ourselves down a peg, because I don't want our heads getting too big over here. This is coming off as like we're so great. The cashback and rebates program specifically is just getting started. And I'm sure you're well aware that, Lucas, too. Like, it's live now in product because there's enough to be valuable for our customers. But we have a team that is flying all over the country all day, every day, talking to local and national suppliers and manufacturers and wanting to make that as robust of a program as possible. So it's not just specific brands or specific suppliers that you're working with, but everything that you would need to have to build a home, making sure that you're getting money back in your pocket.
I think there's a lot to be said for that. I know I just got an email today from that team specifically that was talking about like, hey, we're trying to do product research here. We're trying to figure out, what are you guys buying? What are you using? What suppliers and vendors are you trying to work with? And that shows that there is that, I mean, as a nation, I mean, we have, there's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. But, the one thing I know is that tomorrow I'm going to get up and my team is going to be swinging hammers in the field and I'm going to need product. And at the end of the day, like being able to get the biggest bang for our buck. And if we can utilize the availability, it gives having more members on board with the rebates program as a user base as a whole gives you guys more power to be able to say, hey, we have, X number of users and they want to be a part of your programs. And, what can you do for us? And it gives us all, like I mentioned earlier, it gives us all those smaller builders like us the availability to purchase like those bigger multifamily builders or developers and that kind of stuff, and gives us that same availability to purchase like a bigger builder and pass all that along.
Love that. And shameless plug, if we do have any suppliers listening, we are constantly looking for additional partners as well too. It's as easy as going out to buildertrend.com. Underneath product, there is material management for suppliers or the contact us button right there. We've had a few suppliers and vendors on podcasts before.
Yeah, absolutely. More collaboration, the better. Collaboration over competition. And for you too, for your homeowners, like you want to be able to provide the best materials and the best selection, and you're building homes and remodeling homes, and the clients and the people who are making the biggest purchase probably of their life, whether it's a new home or a big kitchen remodel, like they want the best products in their homes too. And this makes it more accessible and better for everybody in the building experience, all around, from the homeowner to the builder, to the supplier, all around.
I think a lot of that is it also, I mean, if we'll put that plug back out to any manufacturers that might be listening, but those of us in the seat like I'm in right now, and the owners and the purchasing agents within our companies, I'm looking at, we ramped up our purchasing with Ferguson, just knowing that we had this program there and in play. And, they having that in there and saying, okay, like, we have our other major manufacturers, we are going to sway, or at least I know I will sway my purchasing and what I'm offering for product and what I'm selling for product based on, on these programs as they move forward. And like you said, Courtney, like making sure that our customers are getting that best product in the end. And we want to make sure that we're doing the best we can. And it's a benefit for everyone. It's a benefit for us. It's a benefit for our homeowners, because in the long term, we're able to pass along some of that savings. And then for us, it's just built, it touches right back to having that relationship with these manufacturers. So it's not just mindlessly buying something that, we know that they're a part of this bigger program for all of us.
Yeah, I think it's just going to continue to get better and better. And I'm super excited for all of us. So Lucas, thank you so much for coming on today to talk about this.
Such a positive note to end on.
I was going to say, as anticipated, we were way over time, and we could have kept going for sure. We could have done half an hour just the education program that you're running there. Lucas, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for being such a valued customer and part of our product development lifecycle. I know it's additional time that you're spending out of your day, not just doing that, but hopping on the podcast and doing case studies for us.
Podcast.
So thank you across the board.
Yes, no, this has been great. Thank you both for having me. This has been a great conversation, and look forward to hearing it live. And it's been an honor. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon, Lucas. Well, Courtney, we just heard from the one, the only Lucas Comstock, talking about a little bit of everything: educational programs, Buildertrend Purchasing, Buildertrend, early adopter. It's funny, we always have this nice list of questions and things that we are supposed to talk about, and we go all over the place. So looking to you now to summarize that fantastic conversation into your biggest takeaways.
Yeah, looking at the talking points, I'm sure our production team's like, you didn't stick to the interview. But, my biggest takeaway is I love meeting builders like Lucas, because the crux of what Buildertrend does is we make these small, medium-sized businesses stronger. We're changing the way the world builds. We're ensuring that our communities and our homes are being built by these business owners who are passionate about the craft, passionate about customer service. And a lot of things stuck out to me. One, the importance of legacy, taking over the business from his dad, but also passing on that knowledge to younger people, making sure that they know that this is a path that they can take and that it's meaningful. That's really special. And then just getting to hear real feedback from a builder who is doing beta testing on our product, and they're seeing things work out, and they're seeing real-time results of their feedback on, just the computer program they're using.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I will continue to say this close to every episode because I truly mean it. We're talking to people like Lucas in the studio is the most rewarding part of my job, for sure. We're recording this at 4:30 p.m. So I've been getting my butt kicked for 7.5 hours now, and like exhausted, ready to go home. And then you come and talk to someone like Lucas. You're like, okay, what we're doing here matters. What our customers are doing really matter, and together we can build a better world, which I think is pretty inspiring.
Yeah, I love that. And it's still the middle of the week, so I think that's just going to carry me all the way,
Yeah.
all the way through Friday.
Absolutely. And then into the best day of the week, Monday, TGIM.
Yeah. And everybody, be like Lucas. Listen to every episode of the podcast. Not for me and Charlie, but for the guests like Lucas who share about their businesses, about the ways that they're finding success, the ways that they're finding inspiration.
Yeah, I mean,
you rate, review, and subscribe.
For sure. The learnings that you can get from these types of interviews are fantastic. Like Buildertrend Purchasing specifically, we have instances of customers that have earned tens of thousands of dollars through this program, which right there, you're already paying for your Buildertrend subscription and putting money in your pockets, your clients' pockets. So do it.
Do it now.
Do it now. And like, review, subscribe. Tune in next week. Have a fantastic day.
And we'll see
you
again.
Be a good person.
Yeah, be a good human. It's one of our Buildertrend values.
And I think that's it. Until next time, I'm Charlie Birtwistle.
And I'm Courtney Matern.
Peace.